Okay, so we're going to dive into this incredible story of how a nation, one that's seemingly outgunned and outmatched, is completely rewriting the rules of modern warfare, and in the process challenging the world's biggest military powers.
I mean, just think about it. On one side, you've got the most technologically advanced military force ever put together. A power so huge that, on paper, it looks absolutely unbeatable. And to give you some perspective on that power, that right there, that's the price tag for just one American aircraft carrier. $7 billion. A floating fortress that's the very symbol of overwhelming military might.
So yeah, you could call this side Goliath. It's a military machine built on the back of cutting-edge AI, air power that's second to none, and these multi-billion-dollar defense shields that are designed to be basically impenetrable.
When this whole conflict kicked off, all the experts were predicting a really swift victory for the US and its allies. And when you look at their defensive tech, it's pretty easy to see why. They've essentially built a virtual fortress over the entire battlefield.
So this shield is all about layers. Way up high, you've got the Arrow system, which is looking for big things like ballistic missiles. In the middle layer, there's David's Sling, which handles cruise missiles. And then, closer to the ground, you have the famous Iron Dome, designed to take out rockets and drones. It is a near-impenetrable wall of defense.
And on top of all that, the US brings its own heavy hitters to the party, like the THAAD system. This thing can destroy incoming missiles both inside and, get this, outside the Earth's atmosphere. I mean, that's literally science fiction stuff made real.
So you'd think this would be an open and shut case, right? The world expected this whole thing to be over in hours, maybe a couple of days at most. But instead of just surrendering, Iran fought back with a strategy that, frankly, nobody saw coming.
And here's the crucial point. This is where everything changes. Iran decided not to fight a war of technology. They couldn't win that. Instead, they decided to fight a war of economics. They chose to play a completely different game. Okay, now this is where their whole strategy just snaps into focus. Iran can launch a drone for maybe $20,000, but the super advanced interceptor missile you need to shoot it down, that can cost up to $15 million. This isn't just a battle, it's a financial mismatch of absolutely epic proportions.
And this brilliant strategy has a name. It's called asymmetric warfare. What Iran is doing is turning its opponent's single greatest strength, all that incredibly expensive high-tech weaponry, into a crippling financial weakness.
And this chart just lays it out perfectly. This is the core of their entire plan. For every single dollar Iran spends on an attack, its adversaries are forced to spend up to $28 just to defend against it. This becomes a war of attrition, fought not on a battlefield, but on a balance sheet.
The strategy is just brutally effective. The goal is to make the other side burn through their incredibly expensive and very limited stockpiles of interceptor missiles. You win even if most of your cheap weapons get shot down because you're making the defense way too expensive to sustain.
But wait, where did Iran even get this potent and cheap technology? Well, the story behind their most effective weapon is something straight out of a spy thriller. It's a wild tale of capture, espionage, and reverse engineering.
It all kicked off back in 2011, when Iran managed to capture one of America's most advanced stealth drones. That single event gave them this huge technological leap forward. It let them study it, copy it, and then create an entire family of deadly drones, all based on premier American tech.
And now for the craziest twist in this whole story. The Pentagon has now created its own version of Iran's drone. It's called the Lucas system, specifically to counter the very threat it accidentally created. I mean, America is essentially copying a copy of its own stolen technology. You couldn't make this up.
So armed with this brand new arsenal, Iran isn't just launching weapons randomly. No, it's using these really clever tactics that are specifically designed to outsmart some of the most sophisticated defenses on the entire planet.
They use a tactic called volley firing. Okay, so first comes this huge wave of cheap drones. They're just decoys, and they have one job: make the enemy waste all those multi-million-dollar interceptors. Then, once the shields are down and the interceptors are gone, that's when the real attack begins. Advanced, high-speed missiles suddenly have a completely clear path to their targets.
And their strategy has a ton of different angles. They're blinding their opponents by taking out critical radar systems. They use simple painted decoys on the ground to trick billion-dollar jets into wasting bombs on fakes. And they're launching all of this from a secret network of underground missile cities. And that whole blinding strategy, it is absolutely working.
That number, that was the value of the most powerful U.S. early warning radar in the entire Middle East. It was located in Qatar, right before Iranian missiles completely destroyed it. $1.1 billion, just gone.
So the whole world is watching this play out, and military planners everywhere are starting to realize that the fundamental rules of war are being broken right in front of their eyes. The old playbook is just obsolete now.
This whole conflict raises a really tough question for every major military power out there. Are billion-dollar jets and massive aircraft carriers still the ultimate weapon? Or does the future actually belong to huge swarms of cheap, smart, and basically disposable drones? The answer to that question is going to define the next century of warfare.